Anyway, so I'll give you a quick overview about who I am, what I've done, and then we'll get straight into it as well. So, quick bit about me. I've been a DJ, producer, hosted radio shows, hosted podcasts, worn many hats over the years, and that's actually my group on the screen, Date Night, which is myself and two friends back in Australia. You're going to see this QR code throughout the presentation. You can scan that at any point. It's basically just a link tree on my website, and it will also include a PDF with notes from today. Because I'm going to go through a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. You're going to get a little overwhelmed if you try and keep up. Not everything will interest you. Not everything will be something that you will necessarily action for yourself. But I want to raise awareness about all of these different things. So, moving on from the music side, which I still love and I'm still very much a part of, that led me to this side where, I've traveled around, I've done a lot of speaking gigs, I've written some books, I've hosted workshops at places like South by Southwest and NAMM, and honestly, I'm having a great time doing it. Like, the reason this came about is with my group Date Night, we went completely independent, which meant we didn't have any support from the record label anymore. We had to do everything ourselves. So we had to make a lot of mistakes. We had to learn a lot of things along the way. And I started documenting that and sharing that with artists. And I found out that's where my passion is now. I still make music, but I pushed that to the side as more of a hobby. And I've really gone all in on doing this because I just love to help others more than just helping myself, and it's a lot more fun when someone releases a track on a Friday to celebrate multiple artists instead of just celebrating myself. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here today. And a little disclaimer, a lot of people will notice that I talk about playlists a lot. I just want to be clear that that's what we're going to go all in on today is music streaming apps, growing audiences on that. It doesn't mean that I'm dismissing other things like PR, radio, things like that. It's just that's what I'm going to go on, speak on specifically today. And I like to throw this one up just to show people how crazy some of this shit is. A lot of people have come to me and said, hey, I paid to get on this playlist to inflate my numbers. It's a good look. It won't hurt me at all. And this is an example of what some of these playlists can look like and how misleading they can be and hilarious. Like, we got the Moana soundtrack with Notorious B.I.G., NWA, 50 Cent. I'm pretty sure they're not in the soundtrack for Moana. So, I put this up for, because it's funny, it's a little icebreaker, but also just because the goal here today is to show you things you can do to avoid ever getting tempted to pay to get onto a playlist or to buy streams or pay for streams. And we can get into more of that at the end of the Q&A about why that's a really bad idea. But everything I talk about here, the only thing it's going to cost you is your time. And, it's I like to start with this one. It's like, I guess it's a bit of a flex. But, just to show that, what we managed to achieve as independent artists, and some of these numbers are slightly out of date now, but through persisting and sticking with it and many years of back and forth, we started to achieve some really cool things, such as editorial playlists, reaching new peaks in terms of listeners, performing at various venues like you saw the footage earlier. And this is actually Times Square, and we paid for this ourselves with revenue that we made from streaming. It sounds crazy. Thank you, I'll take that, yeah. And it was just it wasn't so much, hey, look at us. It was, this is something we've always wanted, that we felt a label would get us one day, or, someone would gift to us when we get to a certain point, and we realized, no, we earned this. This is something we've always wanted, and we can get it ourselves. So I'm going to skip a couple of slides here as well. The reason being, sometimes I can do a 2.5 hour version of this. So you see some slides that capture your interest. I've got a full recording on my YouTube of the 2.5 hour version I did at South by Southwest last year. So let's power on. And also, I'm going to go platform by platform here. I don't play favorites. So let's kick it off with Amazon Music. And I'm going to go feature by feature very quickly. Once again, the QR code will keep showing up throughout the presentation. There's a PDF document. You just click the link and in the link tree and you can download it directly from my Dropbox. So the first feature of Amazon Music for artists is, well, signing up with Amazon Music for artists allows you to claim your profile. We're not going to go into what an artist's profile is. I'm sure we're all aware of that. But once you get access, you'll be able to do certain things that we're going to cover on the next slides. And of course, artists.amazon.com is when you sign up. The first thing that you can do, and I'm not going to walk you through the entire process. As you can see, I do have a video that will. But when you have an upcoming release or upcoming releases, you can go into Amazon Music for artists and you can actually pitch them for editorial consideration. Now, yes, that does include opportunities to be considered for playlists, but it also includes opportunities for radio programming within Amazon Music. One feature that I think is rarely highlighted, and I feel is a very strong point, is by doing this for every release, a notification will be sent out to anyone that follows you on Amazon Music. So that means if they have an Alexa device in their house, they're going to get a notification on release day. If they have the Amazon Music app on their phone, on their tablet, they'll get a notification that you've released a new song. A couple of other features that I wanted to highlight with Amazon Music. They have an integration here with Twitch. I'm not actually live on Twitch right now. It's just camera magic. But this allows you to connect your Twitch channel to your Amazon Music artist profile. When you go live, it will go live on both platforms at the same time. So to give you an example, I don't have Twitch installed on my phone, but I have Amazon Music on my phone. And so I got a notification that one of my favorite artists, Disclosure, was going live. I got the notification from the Amazon Music app, and I was able to watch their live stream and dive straight in. If I wanted, sure, I could log into Twitch and I could engage with the chat, but this was more than enough for me. I was able to join in and watch that live stream. And as you can see here, they highlight those in the home screen in the app. So it's a great way to get noticed by fans and potentially new fans, people that haven't discovered you yet, just by connecting the two and going live on Twitch. We're going to skip over merch and a couple of these. So this is just an example of other ways that the notifications can come through if you pitched using that Amazon Music for Artists form. So as you can see here, somebody follows the artist and then they get notifications from the app, or if they have an Alexa device in their house, hopefully there's not one in this venue, but if they have an Alexa device, they will get a notification from that as well. I'm going to jump past Spotlight. Basically, it's an audio message that accompanies a new song that will be highlighted on the top of the artist profile. It's a great way to, as the artist, have a message in your own voice that you can share with fans when they're listening to your music on the Amazon Music. And let's jump past a few of these. So, onto a platform people may not be as familiar with, Angami. And I know the pronunciation isn't entirely accurate, so if anyone wants to correct me, feel free. But with my goofy accent, it's the best I can do. But Angami, whether you've heard of it or not, has a significant number of subscribers, and you can reach them by signing up at creators.angami.com, and you can pitch for editorial opportunities. So this is something I always preach, which is You may listen to music on Spotify or Apple or Amazon, but that doesn't mean your fans are. So you want to reach them wherever they are and make your music available and have a presence on all of these platforms. So I started to pay attention to Angami, and at the time, they were in the earlier stages. I was actually able to DM them on Twitter, or Twitter at the time, and I was able to share music with them, and they actually responded and placed songs on editorial playlists. Now they've actually worked on that process so that there's actually an opportunity to pitch directly in Angami for artists. And as you can see here, well, maybe a little hard to see, but you get 6 songs that you can pitch per year, and it doesn't have to be an upcoming release. These are songs that have actually already been released. So if you're just discovering this, it's the first time you've heard about Angami, and you've got music that exists, you can go in and pitch those. And the pitch form is very straightforward. I don't have a screenshot of the form, but essentially they'll just say, what genre, what type of playlist do you feel this would be best suited to? And if they place you, you will get a notification from the app, if you have the app installed on your phone, or you'll get an email letting you know that you've been placed on there. With some of these streaming platforms as well, like, I know this can feel like it's very time consuming, but no one's expecting you to have all of these installed on your phone and be checking these constantly. This is more, make this part of your release strategy. You have a new song that's coming out or just came out, go through, have your own checklist, and just tick these off. Because if you do it in a batch, it becomes far less time consuming. And once you start to see things happening, you start to see the numbers grow, you start to realize that time was well invested. Because let's be real, some of us spend 6 months working on a track, sometimes longer. You know, it's worth locking aside an afternoon and just going through these steps as well to reach as many people as we can. I actually did have a walkthrough of the submission process for Angami. I'll spare you this, because but these videos as well I put on my YouTube channel, where the reason that I do this is some people think it's really complex, and it's like, no, there's 4 questions and then there's a button. You know, that's it. So onto Apple Music now. We're still at A. We're doing well on time. So Apple Music for artists, you can sign up at artists.apple.com. Once again, claiming the profile, but they've got a few extra features where you can really personalize your profile and share more information as an artist. And they've also got some new tools they've released recently to help with social media shares and things like that. So I'm going to jump over a few of these slides. So this first one, this is what it looks like now in Apple Music for artists to update your artist profile. So biography, photo, very straightforward. If there's other names that the artist performs as or is known as, you can include those, location or hometown. And I found this really helpful. They have a Q&A where there's a bunch of questions in there that you can answer. So you may not be, that excited about writing an extended biography, but you want to get something on your artist profile on Apple Music to make it another welcoming home for fans and to show them that, yes, I'm on here as well. These questions are very short and sweet, and it could even just be, what's your favorite song? Or what's an artist that inspires you? And I've seen artists do this and shout each other out, and it's been really cool to see. As far as ways to make Apple Music a little more exciting for fans, this is what is referred to as Apple Motion. So this video here is, of course, the top of an artist profile, and there's other ones as well where, I'll see if I get an example, I do on the next slide, where for an album, you can actually have motion in both apps, and it also shows on Apple TV now as well. But what's really good about Apple Motion is that it's a way to keep people engaged and potentially listen a little bit longer. They press play, you've only got a few seconds to capture their attention, by having a visual that accompanies that, it might keep them listening just a little bit longer to really give your music a chance. And it's actually getting really easy to do. You can see that it's not a full music video as such. It's just some simple transitions, nothing too crazy. Some of them might just be simply a ball rolling across the screen or something like that. And most of these, honestly, people are making in apps like Canva as well, which are free for the most part. The next one here is milestones. So these are cards that Apple will make for you. You can download these in the app on your phone, the Apple Music for Artists app on your phone or the website, and they'll highlight things like a certain number of plays have been reached, you've been placed on a new playlist, you've charted it in another country for the first time, which is connected with iTunes as well, and they're already created for you. The text is included and a link, so you can just basically grab that image and share that on social media. And Apple just expanded on this recently with custom assets. Now, one reason why these are important, it's not just to say, hey, I'm on Apple Music, because let's be real, ideally you're on every platform, so people can reach and hear you. But one thing that Apple are really pushing now is encouraging people to follow an artist. And what that is actually going to do is if somebody, this is a release, but let's imagine this was an artist. If people follow or favorite, I should say, if people favorite an artist on Apple Music, they will get a notification every time a new song is released from that artist. So I've had a few artists that I've favorited. One example, Kate Renata. I am a big fan of Kate Renata, and every time there's a new release, I get a notification from the Apple Music app. I dive straight in and I listen to that new release. Not only that, but it also shows all the artists I favorite on the homepage. So as I'm scrolling the app, looking for music to listen to, right there on the homepage is all the artists that I, as a listener, have favorited. So getting people to click that favorite button on Apple Music is going to really help you with reach and spreading the word about those new releases, because every release ongoing, they will get a notification automatically. And actually, this is an example of just how they create the post for you. They add the text, and it'll launch directly into the relevant social media app, X, Twitter, Instagram, and the others, and you can just simply post. So they really want to make it as easy as possible to just a few clicks and you've got something that you can share on social media. Now this one here, this is a feature Apple have been rolling out. As you can see here, I'm part of the party. It's called Apple Music Sing. So this may be a little hard to see, but above that TV screen is an iPhone mounted, pointing at the two people in front of the screen, and they have the lyrics on the screen. And so this is like an interactive karaoke function that is rolling out on Apple TV devices. So basically, people can sing along to their favorite song, they can isolate the instrumental or the vocals, the a cappella, and they can actually control the volumes of different stems going forward, and they can put themselves in a music video so that they can be on the screen. Why this is important, and I'll get to this more later, is for this to be available, you need to make sure that you are uploading your lyrics wherever you're distributing your music, so that you're actually opening up the opportunity for fans to be able to have experiences like this. And I'll get to the service later, but Musix Match, and that's actually how it is, MUSIX Match, is one service where you can do that and do the synchronized lyrics. And actually, I do have an example. So this is scrolling down the home screen, and as you can see, I've got a very unique selection of artists that I've favorited. Obviously, Ice Cube, Black Facilities, and everyone's favorite, waffle cakes. But this is the home screen in the app. So when someone favorites an artist, they're going to see their favorite artist every time they open the app, scrolling down on the home screen. So it's a really good way to reach fans ongoing. I don't know, what have I got this for? Okay, this is just showing how you can share an image that will encourage people to add the artist to favorites as well. And then, of course, you include a link. If anyone clicks that link from social media, they will launch directly into Apple Music and they can favorite or follow the artist directly. All right, we're up to B. We're really doing well with time. Bandcamp, like I know there's a lot of controversy about Bandcamp, and there's a lot of stories about Bandcamp. I don't know, I won't get into that one time right now, but Bandcamp have a few ways that you can reach more people on the platform. And one of them is Bandcamp Daily. It's their own editorial page, blog, if you will, where they actually review music, link directly to the artists, and ideally help sell some copies of the album. This is a very attractive form that they currently have, where you can submit music for consideration. Yeah, it's beautiful. And of course there is a link to this as well because it's like a Google Doc. I'm not going to put the full URL up here, but out of all of the platforms, Bandcamp asks for at least 8 weeks notice. So if you have an album coming out in more than 8 weeks from now would be the time to send that to them. And the reason being, they want to listen to it in its entirety. They want to share it with other people, play it to others. They need time to listen to it, familiarize themselves with it, and write about it. But the good thing about this is there's no cost, of course, like everything I mentioned. And if they write about you, you've now got some words. You've got something that you can share. You've got a blog post from someone at Bandcamp. And Bandcamp listening parties. It's not so much a new feature now, but it's just worth highlighting that these exist. So when launching an album, there's a way to actually have fans. You can unlock access for them early if they pre-order, and you can have private listening parties with fans where they can all engage in the comments as well. And this is a really fun site. For anyone that's not familiar, Bandcamp Friday is, obviously it's on a Friday, but they basically waive all fees. So if you sell an album for $10 that day, the artist gets $10. They don't take a cut. So Bandcamp Friday has slowly built in interest over the years to the point where a lot of music lovers are actually checking to see when Bandcamp is happening next and logging in to make their purchases on that day, knowing that's going to give the top amount of revenue to the artist. And so this site here, you may not see it down the bottom, but is it bandcampfriday.com? And it has a live countdown to when the next Bandcamp Friday is. And what's great about this is you know the date, you know the time, you can schedule posts on social media now. So you could schedule a post to go out ideally the day before and maybe a few on the day, just saying, hey, it's Bandcamp Friday. If you buy my music today, I get 100% of the money. Like, today's the day. And I've seen a lot of artists try to be the first to break the news, because then everyone starts sharing that post with the announcement that it's Bandcamp Friday, and they actually get a lot of new fans in the process as well. We're up to Deezer. So Deezer, once again, maybe one of those platforms people aren't as familiar with. They do exist here in the US. But creators.deezer.com is where you can sign up and get access to a few tools that I'm mentioning. The first one is a very short, actually, this is a way to highlight an album, a podcast, or a playlist on Deezer. So you can highlight 2 albums at the top of your profile. So if you have something from your catalog that you would like to share with fans, you can actually go and highlight that at the top. And in addition, you can also highlight a recent release or a new release. These also have this very short status update. I believe last time I checked, it was 64 characters long. So You have to keep it very short and sweet, but I've seen artists use this creatively. Some of them have actually put a code in that status update and told fans, hey, if you want to get my new piece of merch, or if you want early access to pre-sale for tickets for my show, I've hidden a code, or I put a code at the top of my Deezer profile. Go and check it out. And then, of course, that's driving more people to that profile as well. And I've seen artists do similar with platforms like Spotify and Artist Pick also. And this is going away, thankfully, because it's not the most attractive form either. It's kind of like the Bandcamp daily submission form, but these have been kicking around quietly for many years. And initially these were given out to record labels and distributors, but they started giving these out to artist managers, which also includes self-managed artists. And this is a very, very poor quality screenshot of what the process is going to look like moving forward, but they've started rolling out their own pitch tool for editorial consideration as well. So moving forward, this will start to roll out. You can go to creators.deezer.com and you can pitch upcoming releases. I have had a look at the form, and it is very straightforward. It's a few questions. Where would this best fit? Press submit. And they do provide notifications if a song is placed on a playlist as well. GeoSarvan. Has anyone here heard of GeoSarvan before? Wow, okay. Awesome. So once again, last time I checked, there was over 160 million subscribers using GeoSarvan. It's not available in the US yet, but if you open a private incognito web browser window, at the very least, we're not getting into we're not talking VPNs or anything crazy. If you open an incognito web browser window, at the very least, you can see that your music exists on here. You won't be able to log in and listen to it as such, but you will be able to confirm that your music is available on here. And you can get access to their artist tools. It's now called Artist One. And some of the tools they provide, just to show you, these are called shorties. And some would say they're very familiar to Spotify Canvas, or Apple Motion, or Tidal Animated Artwork, or all of the others that are coming out. But once again, just another way to share some visuals to accompany the music to keep people engaged. And this is what an artist profile looks like on GeoSarvan. And here is where you have an opportunity to have 2 official playlists that you curate as the artist that display directly on your profile. The good thing about this is that you've got a check mark, you've got a bio, and you've got playlists. It shows that the artist is paying attention to this platform, and it welcomes fans if they first discover the artist. On the bottom right-hand side, there's social media links as well that can be added. But these 2 playlists, this is kind of a one-time go in and curate them, and then you can update them whenever you need to when you have new music. But they take care of the branding for you. They take care of the artwork, the description. So all you need to do is just drop those songs in. They make the playlist live. They host it, and it looks very official, almost editorial. And this is, once again, my group date night, and I feel terrible. Sharif actually has part of his face cut off there. That was not intentional. I love him. He's a great sport. And this is what it looks like when the playlist has been created on the profile. And as you can see at this time, we were absolutely crushing it on GeoSarvan. We had 1 follower after I clicked the follow button. So you've got to start somewhere though. I'll take it. And we're up to Pandora. Okay. Is everyone here familiar? I know your hand's already up. Did you actually have a question? Oh, let me see if I can get the text. It's artists.geosarvan.com. I'm trying to see if I can have a larger version. So artists.geosarvan.com. And it's in the PDF as well at the end, if anything is missed. But Pandora, I'm assuming most of us are familiar. Fantastic. So the reason I'd love to really talk about Pandora is when I was still living in Australia, Pandora existed before Apple Music. It was one of the originals. And at the time, I was actually working for Apple in their retail stores outside of DJing and everything else. And we were listening to Pandora in the stockroom all day because Apple Music didn't exist. And since then, of course, Pandora has been removed from other countries. They're now only available in the US. And a lot of people overlook Pandora outside of the US because it just doesn't exist. They think that it didn't work out. But the reality is, like, they have over 60 million subscribers. And those 60 million people are in the United States. So, like, there's still a large amount of people that can be reached. And they have their own tools available to any artist anywhere in the world, which is their artist marketing platform, or AMP for short. And amp.pandora.com is where you can sign up. And some of the features that I would like to highlight using the artist marketing platform, this first one is what happens if you feature a track. So basically what happens is you can choose multiple songs to opt in to featured track, and you can feature, I haven't had my coffee yet, you can feature up to 6 tracks per year, 8 weeks per track. So 48 weeks out of the year, quick math, 48 weeks out of the year, you can have a song featured in Pandora. And what that does is it takes the song, it pushes it through their radio programming. A lot of people listen to Pandora on what's also known as endless listening mode, which means they start playing an artist and they just let it play all day. And so the featured track will get served to those listeners, and it will show you how many spins you've got from being featured. Spins, the same as a stream, more than 30 seconds of someone listening to your track. They get feedback, how many people gave it a thumbs up, how many people skipped the track within the first 30 seconds, and you get extra streams as a result. So I've seen artists do this. They get a few hundred streams. I've seen artists in the hundreds of thousands. But being realistic, you're going to at least see some streams by doing this, and it's free. There's no sort of barriers to entry other than the song has to have been listened to 10 times in the last 7 days, and the song has to have been released within the last year. So, if you released the song a few months ago, you can log in and you can feature that track, and you can get it in front of a larger audience now as well. Other features on Pandora, this one is basically reporting. So a lot of people are curious how they're doing on Pandora, how many streams are they getting, where are they coming from. They now have this detailed section for catalog where you can get really deep into that and understand how people are discovering you and where they're listening. And they just started rolling out these new updates, which are called creator notifications. So instead of sort of wondering, am I getting heard on Pandora? Am I getting placed on any stations or playlists? You start to get notifications that can come directly to your email, directly to the app as well. And as you can see, they have all these milestones that you can share to celebrate as well. These are audio messages, and I guess there's waffle cakes again. But these are voice messages that you can record. If you have the Pandora app on your phone, you can record it like in this example on the right-hand side. Otherwise, you can record and upload on the web browser. But these can play before or after a song, and you can actually link to an external website. And another thing you can do is you can localize it. So keep in mind, Pandora only exists in the United States. So you could have a message that could be something like, hey, I'm going to be playing in San Diego this Saturday. Make sure you come down to the holding company, buy tickets through the link on the screen. People can tap that link, purchase tickets, And that message is only being heard by people that would actually come to that show. Like people on the East Coast won't be hearing that. So I've seen artists do that. I've seen artists also use it to share a new piece of merchandise that they're selling. Or even if you created a playlist as the artist yourself, direct people to your playlist and say, hey, if you like this, I've got a playlist with a lot more music from myself and similar artists. Check it out, tap on the screen. And for anyone here that likes curating and curating your own programs, number one, I encourage everyone to at least have a playlist of your own music. Because you control that, it's something that you can direct fans to, and you can put your best work in that playlist in the order that you would like. Pandora has some incredible tools available in the artist marketing platform. Originally they called them stories, but now they call them programs. Once you get access and you go to your artist tab in AMP, you go to programs, you can create two things. One is mixtapes, which externally are known as stations, and the other is playlists. Now, when you do these, they actually show you how many people have listened, how many individual people have listened, how many streams across that program, and the average listening time. So this is actually a mixtape or station that I made, and this shows you that the average listening time is over 6 hours, and in 1 year, there were nearly 3,200 individuals with their own Pandora account that listened at least once. What's great about this is if you're including your own music in these programs, you're bringing more listeners to your music. And they go even crazier. They actually start to break it down by device, demographic, location as well, so you can get an idea of where people are listening to that program. This is just relating to that playlist or that station. And the reach on Pandora, if you are curating, is really strong, meaning if we look at Spotify, for example, there's a lot of playlists on there. Most people have multiple playlists to their name. Pandora has not been saturated, so when people search for something, like in this case, my Cafe Chill station, it's actually showing up towards the top of the search results and getting a lot of listens. And this shows you in that station or playlist the completion rate, which means people listen to more than 75% of the song, and the skip rate, which means they skipped within the first 30 seconds, and how many people have listened overall. So you know how many people are listening to every song in that playlist or station that you've created. And this was really helpful one time. I had one, and there was this track, and the completion rate was terrible. Like, people were skipping it like crazy. And I realized that it was related to a specific holiday, let's say, for example, Christmas, and that holiday has long passed. It was June, and no one's wanted to hear that. So by seeing that, I was able to go in and quickly remove that track as well. And then, they go all out with this. I won't get too much into it because I could geek out. And it's too fucking early. But that's what it looks like on the Programs tab. And let's jump onto SoundCloud. And Barry, I can't see you, but just shout. Okay, I see you. How are we doing on time? Because I want to be respectful to the next group. Okay, cool. Just tell me if I'm talking too much. My wife's here too, she'll tell me. Okay, SoundCloud. So artists.soundcloud.com, this got a revamp recently. We're just going to skip through a few of these, but they have features where you can pitch for consideration on SiriusXM. It's only for SoundCloud Radio this time. So is anyone here releasing hip-hop specifically? Okay, cool. So SoundCloud Radio at this time is strictly hip-hop, but there is the opportunity to pitch directly for SiriusXM consideration for SoundCloud Radio. And then they have other platforms as well where you can submit for additional features. BPM Supreme, Beat Source, so that DJs can actually have access to your song in their collection, in their crates, and play that out as well. And then SoundCloud have a few promotional tools that they've just started adding. The reason I highlight this is just check back on this section because there's going to be more things coming this year, and it's definitely worth diving in and getting access. But as you can see, there's going to be opportunities to promote on SoundCloud further and things like that. And I don't feel like pitching for other opportunities is too far away either. Spotify. Who's heard of Spotify? No one. Okay. All right. Look, there's a lot of stuff with Spotify that I think we already know about. So I always like to challenge myself and try to show some things that may not be as commonly known. But starting with the basics, Spotify for artists, artists.spotify.com. And that's where you get started, you claim your profile, etc. But some of the features that I wanted to highlight that I think are really cool. These are called Spotify codes. Now, the way that this works is if you have the Spotify app, you would, next to the search bar, there's like a little magnifying glass looking kind of thing. You would open the app, tap on that, point it at the code. That code will launch directly to a podcast episode, audiobook, playlist, artist page, song, album. You get the idea. Pretty much anything in Spotify. And this example on the right, this blew my mind. Eddie came up to me at a conference a couple of years ago, and he had a code printed on his hat, and it actually worked. I was like, that's rad. And then, just to give you an example, like SpotifyCodes.com is the site. Why they put it on a separate website, I don't know. Shameless plug, as I just bite the microphone. Shameless plug, if anyone were to scan that code, it goes to my audiobook in Spotify. Snuck that in there. Can you believe it? Yeah, very sneaky. Happy birthday, Barry. Okay, the next one is promo cards. So once again, a Spotify provided tool. They put this on a separate website for some reason. They tend to test things out before they bring them into Spotify for artists directly. The website for this is promocards.byspotify.com. And as you can see, they'll highlight different things like milestones, how many followers the artist has. You can also use these to share links to other things, such as a new album that's come out, letting people know that you, the artist, are on Spotify. You can also, you can also use it to highlight a live show as well. So if you've connected your Songkick profile in Spotify for Artists, you can also create these images as well to highlight that upcoming performance.
Spotify have started beta testing a new feature known as clips. These are 30 seconds.
We'll skip that. So just some kind of fun observations I've seen over the years on Spotify, and using the argument, if Beyonce did it, why can't we? So this was actually on Beyonce's artist profile on Spotify. You could purchase an MP3 file. And what's even really crazier is you could choose the quantity, because everyone needs duplicates of a digital file. But of course, I'm a sucker. I bought two. And just to show you what it actually looked like, it shows up in the offers section here, offers. And this is with the integration with Spotify and Shopify, which is a real tongue twister. But if you have a Shopify account and you connect it in Spotify for Artists, you can sell merch, you can sell other things, or you can sell an MP3 file. And it's crazy to me because people could be streaming the song directly on the profile and still purchase a digital download as well. I'm going to definitely skip this. This is just showing you where you go if you have an upcoming release that you would like to pitch for editorial consideration in Spotify. I think we've seen enough forms to know what that's going to look like. And we're going to jump past that one. And this one's interesting. I have to admit, I haven't actually tried it out myself. And I don't know why it's not more commonly talked about, but I found out Spotify have studio spaces around the United States and even other places around the world, such as London, where you can go in and use that studio for free. You just have to go to Spotify.com/studios and make a booking. But I've actually had some artists that have done this, and it was cool. They captured some content. Some people have gone in and recorded a podcast episode in there, or recorded an interview. And sometimes it's a nice change of scenery compared to just like a brick wall background. So definitely worth taking a look at that. And we're up to Tidal. Everyone here familiar with Tidal? Okay, cool. So there's a few features they've rolled out recently. This first one is in-app. Disclaimer that for the most part, at this time, I believe it's only available to paid subscribers. But essentially what you can do is you can go live within the Tidal app and just play music. So no talking, no chat at this time, but if you start playing a track, there's a live button in the top right corner. You can give your live session a name, and then you've got a link that you can share. This link is always the same. So anytime you go live, you can share that exact same link. You don't need to create a new link every time. But what happens is, I've seen artists do this when they've dropped a new album or they've dropped a new single. They go, hey, for everyone that has Tidal, I'm going live today at 4 p.m. for 2 hours. I'm going to be playing my new song and other songs from similar artists. Come and join in and hang out. And it's just music. But when you're live, in the top right corner, it will actually start to show you a count of how many people are listening live. So let's say, for example, 10 people are listening live along with you on Tidal. That's 10 streams that you're getting at that time from 10 different accounts. And for anyone that doesn't know, the royalty rate on Tidal, there's royalty rates are a whole other conversation, but it's a little bit nicer than other platforms as well. But I've seen artists do this as just another way to connect with fans and to be able to do something cool on Tidal. And Tidal also have Tidal Artist Home. So you can sign up at artists.tidal.com. So far, they've started to build out some cool tools. I've seen some things coming that they've been slowly sharing and they're going to announce soon. But right now, you can at least claim your profile. So you can add your biography, you can update some photos, you can add links to your social media profiles. You can report if there's any songs that are on the wrong page. And they've started rolling this out for songwriters, producers, engineers as well, so that they can make sure that all their work is showing on a profile that can be shared. So it's not just the artist that's being highlighted. Everyone will get their own page and their own presence on Tidal. And just to show you what the artist profiles look like when they've been filled out. And I don't have a slide for it, but Tidal have been rolling out some features in Tidal Artist Home. One of them is called Collabs. So you can create a profile, choose what you want to share on there, some examples of songs that you've made, and up to 10 people will be sort of, Tidal kind of plays matchmaker and pieces it together and makes suggestions on who might be a good fit for who. And you go and you listen to the examples of the music from the other person, and you get an idea of where their audience is based, and you decide if you want to collaborate. Tidal remove themselves from that point. They just want to be the matchmaker and help, and that's it. And it's actually been pretty fun. I've seen some people do it. There's a friend that was making some beats, and then there was somebody that heard them and went, yeah, I'd love to jump on that, and there's some tracks coming out very soon. So definitely worth checking that out, and there's more to come this year on Tidal for sure. Barry, how are we doing on time? Okay. If anyone wants to tell me to get off stage, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep going.
You see why I put it first. Could you imagine doing this at the end of the day?
I couldn't.
Instead of loving him, you like me. Keep going with this. We're just exactly.
Okay.
15 more minutes. Encore.
Yeah. Yeah, it was encore. No. So I mentioned this at the start, lyrics and why they're important. We saw that example with karaoke in the lounge room with the lyrics on the screen. But there's a number of other ways that you can reach people with artists. So, people can sing along to the track in the app. They can share the lyrics on social media. And the lyrics can also show in things such as Google search results. And what's interesting about this is that somebody may not necessarily be looking for a song. They may type in some keywords, and those keywords may actually match lyrics to your song, which could then lead them to go and directly listen to that song, connect with it on a deeper level, and ideally become a fan of the artist. So, that's just one of the many ways that you can reach people by adding those lyrics. Like, yes, it's fun for karaoke. Yes, it's great for fans to be able to read and follow along with the lyrics, but it's also a way to reach people that may not even know you exist. And that's something I wish I knew years ago, because I'm guilty of not adding lyrics. Well, now I do, but back in the day, and I think about some of the songs and like the message behind them and how that would have resonated with someone. And it's never too late to start. So definitely add those lyrics, and it's a great way to reach more fans as well. On to some apps that I wanted to highlight. So disclaimer, these are not apps from the streaming platforms. There may be a cost with some of these at some point in the future, but some fun apps I wanted to share. This first one is called OneSheet, or the website is onesheet.club. And this is a live OneSheet that updates every day, that pulls in data from various sources. So, your social media accounts, how many followers you have, your latest biography, how many streams you have on different platforms, chart positions, playlists, etc. So if you don't like the idea of opening up that document and continuously updating it with numbers and things like that, this will do most of the work for you, and it's hosted online. So, that PDF that you sent 6 months ago may not be relevant now, and this is an option to have a live document that's hosted online. It's not a spreadsheet, it's not as exciting as a spreadsheet, but it's the best I could do. I hear that everyone's been geeking out on spreadsheets, and I freaking love Airtable. I could do a whole day on Airtable, but I don't have any material prepared. This next one is Playlist AI. So this is just more of a fun little app that you can download, and it allows you to create playlists using different inputs. One of those is an image. So you could actually, for example, you could upload an image of a festival lineup, let's say Coachella, and it will grab all of the artist names from that text, and it will make a playlist for you. I've seen artists use the AI prompt and say, make a playlist of all of the songs from this particular artist and all of the songs where this artist is a featured artist or a remixer. And it spits it out, and all of a sudden they've now got a playlist of all the music they've worked on ready to share. And then there's other ones as well, like you can upload videos and things like that. It's crazy. So just one of those fun tools that I've played around with. And this one's really fun. So I've used this a few times, without getting into my day job. Now I'm sure it'll come up later. I also work with various artists and labels, and sometimes they get on a billboard. Sometimes they're on a billboard in a part of the world that I can't get to. And earthcam.com, this screen recording I took is actually free. There's a paid version where you can get it in 4K, you can download it, you can control the camera somewhat, as you can see. But I've used this because someone said, hey, this artist is going to be on a billboard in Times Square at this time. And I'm like, I can't be there. I'll just sit at home and watch. And it's great because you can, I captured this for free. And this is more than worthy to post on socials. So it's just a fun tool, and you can look at various places around the world and see what's going on in real time, and it's live. I'm only going to talk about AI for a second because apparently everyone's heads nearly exploded yesterday. And look, I got my own opinions on AI, and I'm still a little hesitant. I'm excited about it, but I'm also nervous of what could potentially happen. How'd that get on there? Yeah, that's my next mixtape. But I guess a few a few uses for AI that I do want to highlight on the more positive side, all jokes aside. This one is an example. Like, I'm not the greatest with words, believe it or not. So when it comes to writing a pitch, I need a little help. So I'm not going to read this out word for word today, but basically with ChatGPT, I went in and Spotify for artists, the pitch has to be 500 characters or less. So the prompt that I made was write a pitch for a new song in 500 characters or less. The pitch is for a song called I Love Robots, and the artist's name is Arnold Timinator. I don't know where I came up with that. And this song is about how the future is fast approaching and humans are feeling unprepared. This song has intense guitar riffs and heavy drums throughout. The vocalist is female and screams loudly through the song about how machines are taking over. Make sure to include the following keywords: new blood, metal, kick-ass metal. And then it spat out this ridiculous, but it was actually pretty good. And that's one of the uses I found that was actually helpful. It doesn't write it word for word for you, but it gives you enough that you're like, yeah, I could tweak that. But yeah, it was crazy though. Some of the stuff I would never say. The song explores the fear and excitement of a future dominated by machines, with lyrics that will resonate with anyone feeling unprepared for what's to come. That's crazy. So, moving on to something a little less. This is a fun tool that I've seen called These Lyrics Do Not Exist. And it's scanning lyrics that are obviously recorded online in various places, and it's going to give you some ideas for lyrics. It's not going to write an entire song, but it's going to give you an idea for lyrics that haven't been used, or at least as far as we know haven't been used. And so it's kind of fun just to generate some ideas, especially if you're doing a love song about robots, you get some cool ideas out of that. And then I've actually been replaced by AI somewhat. This is not a joke, but this is Mike GPT. This local company actually made this for me, and I was kind of terrified because it's actually smarter than I am. But the way that it works is it's actually scanning all of the blog posts I've done, podcast episodes, YouTube videos, recordings of workshops, and it's scanning all of that, and it's piecing that together, and it's citing the sources, and it's actually creating an answer. And it has different tones, like engaging or polite, or explain it like I'm 5. And it's actually pretty good. It's free. If anyone wants to try it out, once again, the QR code has all the links. You see Mike GPT there. I'm still here. I still exist right now. You can ask me directly questions, but it's kind of fun. I've had some people play around with it, and they're quick to tell me if it says something a little bit weird. And then shameless plugs. Let's do it. I do have a book that exists. It's in paperback, audiobook, and ebook. Yeah, shameless plugs. Yeah, And so for anyone that likes to read or likes to listen to a goofy Australian accent for over 4 hours, you've got your options covered there. There's also a version in Spanish as well. Don't worry, I did not narrate that one, but that would be fun. And then lastly, I'm just going to leave this up. This is my blog, workhardplaylist.com, my social media handle, and that QR code that's been popping up the whole time. And 116 slides. We did it.
So he's gonna hop on for 5 minutes. You know what? He's gonna be our returning tribute. Let's add it to the next panel. What do you say? You get a candidate and proof of carbon, that person who blew your mind with the AI. Together. I'm feeling it. I'm so feeling it. All right, you got 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Great job.
Fantastic.
We have to talk to that.
I expect
Everyone might have.
should I? I'll make that.
That was really well.
Oh, would you mind moving it?